Hi, Statesmen Nation. I'm here with Joe Minton as we prepare for the 2025 men's soccer season. Coach, it's your team now.
It is my team,
Yeah,
I guess.
this is exciting how you've been part of the program for a long time, but now you've deservedly so taken over the reins. So let's recap 2024 and I guess the last few months, too, of you actually being in charge.
Yeah, obviously 2024 was an incredible year, right? We had an incredible group of guys off the field as much as, footballers on the field. So we were super gifted. We're super grateful for those guys. Losing in the way you do at the end of the season, nobody wants to lose on penalties, but it's a potluck at the end of the day. So, yeah, and then since then, obviously Simon was around for 4 or 5 months. So we were working together to try and get this team ready to go all the way again next year. So for us, the last kind of few months have been, a little bit of a change, a little bit of a shift in responsibility, if you will. It's definitely a little bit more stressful. I was speaking to Simon about that the other day. So, but yeah, I think it's part of the job. But I'm loving every second of it. I said when Simon left, I think I went straight into Alicia's office and said, I want the job, and luckily I got it. So it's just all about working hard from here and making sure that we're competitive this year.
Yeah. You kind of talked about all season. Let's roll right into it. I want to know who these new guys are. What's going to make up the 2025 season. So if you want to start from the top, you want to start from the bottom, I'm going to let you run with it.
Yeah, I think kind of overall the squad that we have this year, I think we've done a really good job of vetting the guys. Culture for us was a massive piece last year. We had a really big culture, a really big family culture. We don't necessarily recruit a lot of one country. We think that's kind of counterproductive to what we have. So we did a lot of vetting with the guys, speaking to parents, multiple calls with them, speaking with coaches when and where we can. And we think we have a really good culture group. So, yeah, I guess kind of starting with the goalkeepers, we have Ryan coming back, a senior from Ireland. Right now he's probably pushing the number 1 spot. Then we have Riku and Matt kind of backing him up as a number 2. Matt transferred in at semester from Presbyterian, so he'll give us a little bit of cover. All really good guys. We have a really good goalkeepers union. And then yesterday we had our freshman Lewis McNabb arrive from England. He was in Leicester's academy and played a little bit with the 70s in England. So really good goalkeeper department. I think those guys play a completely different sport, so I don't speak too much to knowing what they do and what they get up to.
You just let them do their thing.
Yeah, but they encourage each other. We've had conversations with all of them and kind of where they're at, and I think all of them understand it, and they're all willing to push each other to the next level. That's the best thing that you can get in a goalkeeper department. I've been in clubs where goalkeepers don't necessarily want the other one to succeed, but these 4 are massive in helping each other succeed. So yeah, I think we'll be good back there. Obviously you lose somebody like Sean, so charismatic to the program and even the university, and it's a big loss. But we have to move forward, and I think Ryan right now is more than capable of taking over those reins. So
okay, defenders.
Yeah, defenders. We obviously graduated a lot. We had quite a bit of turnover there. Obviously Eden and Alessandro both graduated and transferred out. We had Dan Wilson, who was not a superstar, but he was very consistent, graduated as well. So we've kind of got a mixed bag at the back. We've got a good couple of returners in Leighton. Obviously 13 more conference last year. Rob started in the national final, so those 2 are both coming back. We have Yugo, Japanese freshman who transferred in at semester. He's really cemented his place in the squad and the culture. And then we've got a bit of a mixed bag in terms of freshmen and transfers. We have, I think that probably the big one for us is Fabian Alvarez, grad transfer from Creighton University, Costa Rican boy, played a lot of minutes for them, so we're expecting big things. We have Leo Jimenez, transfer from Iowa Western, good player as well. And then we have a couple of good freshmen in Adam Kay, English boy, left-footed centre-half, big tall lad. He's going to come good, as the season progresses and as he kind of moves up. And then we've got Una Ronka, Finnish right back. Again, same thing, he's going to develop properly. And then Santi Palacios and Angel Valdez, both transfers. Angel's coming from Longwood, Santi's coming from Post University, both really good programs, so they're going to provide us a little bit of experience. So we're quietly confident in the back 4. What we're seeing, I think, with the lines and training is that these guys just need to knit together a little bit better. They need to gel, they need to get to know each other's traits and habits. But I think as soon as we get that down, we're going to be, we're not going to concede an awful lot of goals at the back. So yeah, we're happy with where we're at defensively, and it's just finding what fits and what doesn't fit. So.
Yeah, no, that was obviously, I mean, you guys scored a ton of goals as well, but defensively, that was really where you were hanging your hat, especially late in the year when you were putting all those donuts up, in national tournament and stuff, and that's obviously what's going to take to make another deep run.
And I think for us, like myself, I was a defender, so I think it's quite easy for me to kind of build from the back to front, which is what we like to do. We kind of always say that, as long as we don't concede a goal, we're always going to score a goal. So for us, we maybe do go a little bit stronger at the back. Again, it's really competitive back there. We have 9 or 10 guys defensively now who could all play and could all start. They're all doing well, and some guys, might feel a little bit hard done by come Thursday. But for us, at the end of the day, it's all about winning. We want to win as many games as possible.
For sure. Okay, let's move to the midfield.
Yeah, this was probably the biggest turnover area. We had Miguel obviously go out to transfer to Old Dominion. Conor O'Reilly graduated. He's at Father Dickinson now. We've Steph Snyder's we had a really good job offer back home, so he decided to go back home. So it's the biggest turnover. I mean, the big piece for us has been Matthias. Matthias has returned. He's been incredible so far. He's smashed all the fitness tests. He's really stepped up in a leader role, a character role. So we're expecting big things from him this year. I think if he can add a couple of goals to his game, he'll be all conference. And then in front of him, we're probably a little bit younger. Transferred in Will Couch from New College of Florida, has some experience back in England. He's proved himself. He's a bit of an engine right now. Santi Ruiz, a grad transfer from Incarnate World. So those two are our transfers, and then we're young outside of that. We have young Javi from Spain. He's very similar profile, very similar characteristics right now to Miguel, his freshman year. So we're kind of not treating him the same, but we're kind of let's develop this year. Same thing with Yassine, French boy, again same thing, just a little bit off it in there, and then Leao's stepping up there as well from centre back sometimes into the midfield. So we're quietly confident in the midfield. I think we're a little bit young, so we're going to rely on our older heads just to start with, and then we're going to slowly implement these midfielders in. But for us last year and the way we play, there's not going to be much change this year. The midfield is the engine room. They have to get up and down. They do 3 roles in a game. They're defending, they're attacking, they're doing everything in between. So for us, we need guys that are really committed, and these guys have shown it. They've shown a willingness to learn our system. They've shown a willingness to learn the philosophy, the tactics, all that kind of stuff. So we're not worried at all. It'll be a case of let's bed them in at the right time. We don't want to throw a freshman in straight away and see them fail, because that can set them up for failure in the future as well. So yeah,
definitely. All right, finally, the attackers, the forwards.
Yeah, the forwards, the game winners, eh?
Yeah, that's right. The ones to get all the attention in the stories.
Yeah, they all think they're pretty boys as well, but they're not. So Albert's coming back, number 9, scored 9 goals, got 1 assist. I think Albert himself was quite disappointed with how the year ended for him. He had a bit of a goal drought towards the end of the year. I think he's disappointed. He should really be pushing for double-digit goals this year. JJ's returning. JJ last year was a little bit of a surprise package for us. I don't think we knew what we were getting out of him. When we got him, we didn't know level or anything like that, but he's come in, he's established himself, he's a leader, he's really stepped up this year, he's popped up with key goals in games throughout the year last year, so he's returned. And then we've transferred in a couple of guys. We transferred in Shaheen Adwan, Swiss boy from Butte College up in California. They had a really good year, so he's a really good guy, really good player off the ball. Caleb Wright, freshman transfer from Fort Hays, Division 2 in Kansas. Went to them in the spring and transferred out to us in the fall. Again, both of them have something. It's all about adapting. And then we have some good freshmen with lots of energy. Gabriel Amara, French boy. We have Sven and Matisse both returning as well, who I think were disappointed a little bit with their roles last year. So they should be having bigger roles this year. So again, the forwards, the big thing is always just scoring. We generate so many chances per game. Even Morningside this weekend, we generated 8 or 9 clear-cut chances, and some of them we couldn't take. So for us on that front end, it's all about the conversion rate. And we always say to the guys, if you're scoring, you make it really tough for us to take you out of the roster and take you out of the starting 11. So yeah, these guys again, they should be hitting the ground running. We have enough returners and old guys where we should be in a really good spot.
Definitely. All right, and there's a lot of names that are going to be miserable for the broadcaster slash PA announcer, but we will figure them out as we go along for sure. All right, let's break down the schedule a little bit, talk non-conference, just how it's going to prepare you for the league.
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 years ago we went really easy in non-conference, and I think it hurt us a little bit when we went to national. So for us, we're always going to schedule strong. You know, we have Indiana Tech making the trip down to us. This year, you know, obviously they lost in kind of the opening rounds of the national tournament last year, but I think apart from that loss, I think they were 15 unbeaten going into it. So a super strong program. They're projected to finish top of their conference this year as well. So they're going to be a really good test for the first game. You know, for us, it's all about let's get a win out of that game. You know, it doesn't matter how we win as long as we do. Then we go to Bellevue in a week, traveling to Bellevue, Nebraska. I think the last time we went there, I think we lost 4 or 5. So we'll be looking to put that right. Again, it's always good to go ahead and play somebody like that. You know, not even from a making nationals point of view, just a test. You know, those are the teams that we're going to be playing in the national tournament. And then we play Ottawa and Trinity Christian in kind of a Labor Day matchup. So I think we have a really good balance. You know, like I said, playing Indiana Tech, I think they're 19th currently. Bellevue, you know, top 8. So 2 really good tests, and then Trinity Christian did really well last year. They were unfortunate not to qualify for nationals. Ottawa are always up in and around it in the KCAC with a strong Oklahoma Wesleyan. So I think we've set it up really well where we can be successful and not get too disheartened with the results. You know, for us, it's not a transition year by any means. We're still trying to be as competitive as we are, but we also understand that, you know, these guys need to learn nice and quick, and sometimes playing these stronger teams can set you up for success in the future. So yeah, we're going to be good. I think we're going to do okay. Again, for us, we're still figuring it out, obviously, with the later start date and the Heart. You know, we're still figuring out a few things tactically and seeing the guys. You know, I've seen the guys now for a week. I think I've had them now. So yeah, we're still figuring it out as we go, but we should be good in these non-conference games. Sure.
All right, then the conference is, man, it's deep. There's every coach comes in and talks to me and says, our sport's the hardest one that the Heart has, and I'm like, have you seen men's soccer? So anywho, with that being said, every day is going to be a dogfight. Every game is going to could conceivably come down to one mistake.
Right.
So just talk about the conference. Who you think is going to kind of be in there? Is there any dark horses, sleepers, and kind of where William Penn falls in there?
Yeah, I think like you said, I think our conference is arguably the toughest to predict. With the amount of teams, you know, you're adding a Missouri Baptist and a William Woods, who both did exceptionally well in the AMC last year, and they're both kind of inside that top 35 ranking bracket, if you will. You know, you have Missouri Valley won a national title, you have CMU who went back to back, you have Mid-America who won it the year they finished, I think, 3rd, 4th or 5th in the conference. So I think it's really tough to predict in the conference. You know, for us, what I'll say is it seems like a little bit of a turnover year, for a lot of teams in the conference. You know, we graduated large portion of our starting 11. Missouri Valley, same thing. Mid-America graduated guys. You know, Benedictine graduated a few. So it seems like a little bit of a turnover year where, you know, it's going to be even harder to predict. You know, for us, we're going to be right in and around it. You know, we want to be right in and around that kind of top 4, competing for a top spot, you know, to win a conference. We still haven't done it. I know we won a tournament last year, but we still haven't won conference, and you want to win conference because that's, you know, your season's work. You know, the tournament, anybody could win it. We say it's 3 games, but, you know, to win a conference and win 14 games in a row and win it, it's going to be massively important. So we're aiming for that top 4 spot and competing for a conference. For me, you know, a team like Baker, they didn't turn over a lot. You know, they had a lot of younger guys come in, and those guys are definitely going to be dark horses. They're going to be right in and around it. You know, Graceland last year improved massively. A lot of younger guys on their team as well. So I think it's going to be a real mixed bag this year. Again, you could finish, you know, first is normally a little bit outright, but from second to 14th, 15th, anybody can finish anywhere really in the conference. So for us, it's let's get that home playoff game. Let's put our name in the hat for, you know, going for the tournament, and then let's try and win a conference. That would be what I would say.
For sure. All right, and then the final thing, what's it going to take to reach those goals of finishing top 4, get the national tournament, make a deep run, all that stuff?
Yeah, for us last year, you know, we keep talking about culture when we meet with the guys, but for us last year, we easily won 3 or 4 games that we shouldn't have won just through culture, camaraderie, and these guys, last year they adored each other, they did, and I don't think that's too strong of a word to use. For us this year, like I said, it's stay competitive. We need to find a way to stay competitive in games and give ourselves a good opportunity. We need to find a way to win in games. We're going to be travelling to places like Clark this year, which is always hostile. It's a tough place to go, and we're going to have to find a way to win there in that environment where some of these guys might not have played in it. And I think, like I said, just overall, just making sure that we're adjusting and changing as needed. You mentioned our conference being the toughest. We need to make sure that we're in a game always, and it can be cutthroat at times. And unfortunately, that's how it has to be. So we're going to remain stern, we're going to remain cutthroat where we need to, and we're just going to make sure that we stay competitive. And again, we're going to respect good teams, and hopefully good teams come in and respect us just as much as we respect them. So
for sure. All right. Once again, Joe Mitten of the men's soccer team. They open up on Thursday against Indiana Tech. A lot of opportunities to catch a Statesman on Dross Field this fall. So everything's Statesman Athletics on statesmanathletics.com, as well as WPU Athletics, all of our social media channels. Coach, best of luck this year. It's going to be really exciting to watch you guys again.
Thanks, Wade. I appreciate it, mate.